Get ready for 3 easy Easter DIYs, all made with Dollar Tree items. They're so pretty, you might want to leave them up all the way through spring. And as always, DIY treats. Welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. Hey guys, it's Aneka and welcome to my channel, Craft, Eat, Repeat. So today I have some super easy but super beautiful Easter crafts for you guys. I'm really excited for you to see them. But I'm also excited because you guys know I love a good collaboration with some of my favorite girls on YouTube. But today is a collaboration with even more YouTubers. And when you see this playlist, you guys, your brain is gonna just explode. There's gonna be so much amazing DIY craftiness. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So make sure you head down to the description box below and find that playlist at the end of this video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. On my channel, you're gonna find easy DIYs, and I always like to throw in a treat at the end just to keep life a little bit sweet. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing to my channel, and everybody hit that notification bell so you'll be ready when my next video comes out. Okay guys, let's get started. Okay, it's time to craft. I'm going to start out with these little ceramic bunnies that I got from Dollar Tree and a glass plate. Now I'm going to take the bunnies out of their containers and just snip off this little metal loop that's holding on this ribbon to hang it with. These were a little more difficult to get out than I thought they would be, but I was able to use my wire cutters and cut them down low enough to be able to use them. Once I've gotten those all out, I'm going to arrange my bunnies in a little pattern following each other, and then I'm going to set my plate right on top. This will let me know exactly where I want to put my bunnies. Now, I didn't do this on purpose, but using this glass plate allowed me to see exactly where the bunnies were, and I'm going to spray paint the whole thing anyway. So if you find a glass plate, that'll make this project just a tad bit easier. Now I'm using Gorilla Hot Glue right here to glue the plate onto my ceramic bunnies. However, when you make this at home, I would recommend using some E6000. I was using the hot glue just to get it done quickly for the purposes of this video, and some of them stuck very well and some of them fell right off. So make sure that you use a really good adhesive for this so this will last you for seasons to come. Next, I'm going to use some spray paint to spray paint this a nice blush pink. Now, I spray painted this out in my garage in the middle of winter and it accidentally froze the paint, but it left this beautiful speckled pattern that almost looks like a nice stone. So that was a happy mistake. And I love the way it came out. I'm going to use my little cake plate to put some jelly beans on that we can just kind of eat off of all the way through the Easter season. Or you can use it for decoration. These little bunnies are so fun and this was so easy to put together. Next up, I'm going to make a beautiful vase holder using these Dollar Tree frames. Now I have 2 gold and 2 silver, but I would recommend getting all the same color. The spray paint actually was kind of difficult to get all of these the same color, so if you have all 4 the same, that'll make it just a little easier for them all to match up. I'm going to take out the glass and the backs of the frames so that I'll be able to spray paint these. Now I'm using this nice glossy white spray paint that I got, and I absolutely love the way this makes things look. It looks very high-end and comes out beautifully. Next, I'm going to use some scrapbooking paper that I have been using for a lot of my spring DIYs this year, so this matches a lot of the decor in my house. I'm going to use the glass that I took out of the frame and just trace out some squares that I'm going to put back in the frames after we assemble them all together. Once I have all 4 of my squares traced out, I'm just going to cut them out so they'll be all ready to put back in my frames once the spray paint dries. Once the frames are dry, this nice gloss white makes them look so beautiful and ornate to decorate your living room. I used about 4 to 5 coats of paint to cover the gold and only 2 to cover the silver. Next, I'm going to replace the glass. I'm going to put my squares of scrapbook paper right in there, and then I'm going to replace the back. Now you could also use pictures of your family. I think I might eventually replace these with pictures of my kids in their Easter Sunday dresses. That would be a really beautiful way to add a personal touch to this project. I don't plan on hanging them, so I'm also going to remove the stand in the back of the frames to give my vase a little more space inside. Now I'm going to use some hot glue, and I'm using my favorite hot glue, which is the Gorilla Glue Sticks. I find they give a really good hold. And I'm just going to form these picture frames into a square. And once I finished, I realized it actually makes more of a rectangle than a square. Still very beautiful. If you want to put a bottom on this, you can use the project boards that they have at Dollar Tree. I'm just going to leave it just like this because I like to leave it so that I can add whatever I want inside. Now they do have these square vases at the Dollar Tree. It's not quite big enough, but will give you enough to put water in if you need it for real flowers. I'm using these silk flowers and I just placed them right inside and they look absolutely gorgeous. I think this would make a really beautiful table decoration for your Easter Sunday dinner. Next up, an Easter egg topiary. Now, I saw a topiary at Party City. It was a little different than the ones I had been seeing online, and so I wanted to try to recreate it while adding my own twist. So I got this floral foam in the shape of a cone, and I already had this candlestick. It's painted with that nice gloss white spray paint that I used before. I'm just going to glue my foam onto my candlestick, and this makes like a little bit of a Christmas tree. Next, I got some of these eggs from the Dollar Tree. Now I chose the ones that were on these skewers. They were very easy to pop off. They also have bags of eggs that are just the eggs, but they're a little bit lighter in color, and I really liked the color saturation on these eggs that had the skewers. So I took the extra time just to pop the eggs right off the skewers. Next, I'm going to use my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to glue them right onto this foam. Now, you do have to hold them on for a little while because otherwise it melts the foam and they just kind of fall right off. But if you hold them on for a few seconds, they stick very well. I've also seen versions of this project where people will put their moss on first and then put the eggs. I found this a little bit more difficult to get the eggs to stick, and I also kind of liked the look of the moss coming up and around the eggs rather than the eggs just being on top. Of course, when you're doing your crafting at home, you should do whatever makes you happy. Create your own look, experiment, play with it, and see what you like. So I'm just putting my eggs all over my topiary here, and I'm leaving a little bit of space in between each one. Now, this bag came with 10 eggs on skewers, and I ended up using 2 bags full to fill up my topiary. Once I have all my eggs on, I'm going to put my topiary on top of something because this next part is really messy. Now, this is reindeer moss that I got from Dollar Tree. I have noticed that some of the bags don't have much of a smell and some of them smell awful. So if you think about it, give it a sniff before you take it out of the store. Now I'm just going to use my hot glue gun to attach my moss all over my topiary in between the eggs. And this is where I decided I liked the look of it like this a little better than putting the moss on first. I liked how the moss kind of came around the eggs. It gave it more of a 3D look than just gluing the eggs right on top of the moss. Now, because I'm trying to imitate the one that I saw at Party City, I did end up covering up most of the moss. However, there were a few spots where you could see it and you would have just seen white foam had I not done this step. I also want to just let you guys know that I've seen a lot of versions of these Easter egg topiaries online where they just stop at the moss, so you can complete this step and decide how you like it, and you can leave it like that, or you can do the few extra steps that I'll be doing at the end of my project. Once I've got it all covered with moss, it's really festive and ready for Easter. I'm just going to trim off the bottom. And I have this beautiful Easter egg topiary. Now, like I said, you can leave it at this step if you'd like, or you can continue on and add a little more. I think I'm always just a little bit extra, so I'm going to keep adding onto my topiary. Now, I got these from the Dollar Tree. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name of this flower, but I loved the colors. I thought they were really fun and pretty for Easter. And I also had all of these leaves left over from a project that I recently did where I made a flower wall. And I used a ton of flowers and I was so glad to get to use the leaves. This made me feel like a little bit less of a hoarder for keeping them all around in my craft room. So the leaves were a little bit big for my topiary, so I just popped them right off the picks, used some scissors to cut them down, and it really didn't matter the shape. I just kind of did a wavy leaf-like pattern while I cut them. Next, I used a little bit of hot glue and a little snippet of my colorful flowers and hot glued it right in the middle of my leaves. Once that was on there, I did the same thing with all the different colors that I had. Next, I put a little dab of hot glue onto the back of my leaves and I just pressed it right into my topiary. Now, this hot glue heated up the foam underneath the moss really nicely. It would sink right into the foam and it stuck beautifully. It was really secure and these will not be falling off anytime soon. I love how the leaves and these flowers just add a beautiful pop of color all the way around the colorful Easter eggs. I think this would make a beautiful table decoration as well for Easter dinner, but I plan to just make a few and leave them around my house. This is a colorful and fun way to decorate for Easter. And now it's time to eat. Today's treat is not so much a recipe as it is a tradition that I do with my girls every year. I use these little planters that I got from Dollar Tree. You could also use the mini solo cups, some jelly beans, and I'm using some chocolate graham crackers. You could also use Oreos. You may just have to hit them in the food processor instead of using your hand like I'm about to do right here. So I'm just going to crush up my graham crackers and I want to make a fine powder out of them so that they resemble dirt. Now, because I'm using these planters and there's a tiny little hole in the bottom, I'm going to have to cover up the hole with a piece of a graham cracker that is not crushed. If you're using the mini solo cups, you don't have to do that step. Now, this is the part I usually have my kids do. And if you have any little eyes watching along with you that you think you might want to do this with, now would be a good time to pause the video and play it again when they're not with you. So once I have my dirt into my planters, we're gonna plant our magic jelly beans right into our dirt. My kids love doing this. They love to choose the colors that they're gonna plant. And sometimes I even let them put water in it to water them. That does make a little more of a mess, so it just depends on how adventurous I'm feeling at the moment. This is where my kids leave it for the night, and the Easter Bunny comes overnight, brings them their Easter baskets, and the magic also helps their little plants to grow. Now, I got these hearts from Walmart. They were only $1 for a bundle. If you wait a week or two, they'll also have little flowers, which are perfect for this. And the magic of the Easter Bunny makes their jelly beans grow into lollipops overnight, plus a few extra seeds for them to eat if they want to. My kids get a kick out of this every Easter. It makes it so magical for them and they just love it. And of course, I love to watch it. I hope you enjoyed these Easter DIYs, plus a little treat to keep life a little bit sweet. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to check out my friends' channels. There are a ton of amazing ideas for you, and I know you're gonna love them. I'll see you next time when we repeat it all again.